there's nothing like cracking that cellophane, pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. The Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
This is Casey from Afterimage, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. The Bod Father, and as always, I'm bringing you guys awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a privilege to have Casey Daron of Afterimage. Afterimage has released their new EP, Temperance, via Krispy Krumble Records, and we're going to be talking to Casey about that. So, Casey, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing awesome. I almost said Krispy Kreme Records. How about that shit? I'll tell you what, already.
Oh, well, you wouldn't be the first person to say that.
So let's jump right into this, good sir. How's it been working with Krispy Krumble Records so far for you guys?
Well, that's our own vanity label that we created ourselves, and it's been really funny because everyone has been talking to us about Krispy Krumble Records, and they've been asking us about this signage. But, I made the paperwork myself, and I had to make sure that I crossed the T's and dotted the I's and made sure everything was going according to, regulation. But, at the end of the day, no, I just made it. It's a fake record label.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. So Afterimage was formed in the fall of 2016 at Keene State College. How did the band actually come together, man? Did you guys just come about, or did you guys, a friend of a friend? How did it happen?
Yeah, so it was our freshman year at Keene State, and we lived in this dormitory that had each hallway was based on different majors. So at the time, we all happened to be music majors. So we all knew each other just from living right next door to each other. And about a month in, I'd say late September, we saw a poster for an on-campus battle of the bands. And I thought it'd be cool to start a band, just try it out. So I asked a couple of the guys from the music hall, and they all agreed. So we planned, it started out as being just like a one-time thing. We were just going to do that one battle of the bands, see what happened, and then kind of move on. And we played the battle of the bands. We didn't win, so we're, probably just going to keep it at that. But then one of the other bands that was competing suggested that we keep playing, and they actually owned a house that they threw band parties at all the time, and they asked us to play. So about a month later, we went through a minor lineup change. It's the lineup that you see today, and we kept playing, and we just kind of evolved from there.
What's impressed or excited you the most about making the EP Temperance, if anything? Is there anything that sticks out about this for you guys possibly, or impresses you about it?
Well, I have to say, this is coming up, we all just graduated, so this is kind of 4 years worth of work went into this EP, just being a band and getting to this point. So I'm just really proud that we were able to balance school and put out a really quality piece of work in as well. I think it's some of our best songwriting, and there's a lot of emotion and passion that went into it. So to release it just a few weeks upon graduating, it's really rewarding, I'd have to say.
Yeah, but sitting on these songs for 4 years like this, man, I mean, it had to be itching you to say, we got to get these out of here. I mean, these can't just sit here.
Yeah, no, you're right. So most of the songs we wrote within the past 2 years or so, but we actually did release an EP, a really homemade EP 3 years ago, and it's not anything like the Temperance EP. It's rudimentary. It's not our best songwriting, and for that reason, we actually took it off of all the streaming platforms. Just not to say that we weren't proud of it, but it wasn't our best work, and it wasn't the sound we wanted to go for. So we kind of came to the conclusion that we didn't want to release another project unless it was the best quality that we could absolutely make it. So it was like I wanted to get this out there for so long. It was hard to sit on it, and we'd play the songs live at shows, and we'd have nothing to really promote online. So it was like there's a lot of anxiety building up to this, and the past 6 months since we recorded it back in December, it's just like I've been so excited to release it. We all have.
Oh, I can imagine that, because that would eat at me. I'd be like, man, we got songs sitting here, and forget the homemade one. We need an actual, producer deal EP put out, and I can imagine that was eating at you guys badly.
Exactly. No, yeah.
So, are there any tracks that didn't make this EP that we could see down the road on a full length from you guys, maybe, or another EP possibly?
Well, we have a lot of material written. Just being in a band and being so close to each other and practicing multiple times a week, it's very natural to just spit out tunes every now and then. So we have a full length amount of music written. I don't know necessarily that that's going to be the next step. I'm not sure. What I can say is that right before the pandemic started, the lockdown started, we recorded a single on campus on an on-campus studio, and we do plan on releasing that sometime this fall, but we want to give a little breathing room between this release and then something else. So,
was it hard to choose between the current set of songs on this EP, which would be the first single you guys wanted to release for it?
I think, yeah, early on there was debate as to what we wanted to put on it, but ultimately we came together and picked songs that we felt fit well together emotionally and tonally. So our past material that we had released, the homemade stuff, wasn't all that heavy. So we knew that the first thing that we wanted to release from this, we wanted to be heavy and attention grabbing. So we chose our song "Thy Will Be Done" just because we felt that was the natural progression for us to say, hey, we're a little different than what we used to be, and we want to come back with a big presence. So some of the songs were very easy to pick, like "Thy Will Be Done." We were like, yeah, well, that's going to be on the EP. Zeitgeist, we knew. But some of the other ones, like Narcissus and Don't Go Gently, we were kind of tossing around, like, should this be on the EP, should it not? So it was a process for sure.
But do you guys like the sound that the band has now compared to where it started? Is this the sound that we're going to hear from here on out from Afterimage, or are you just going to let it flow and see where it takes you down the road on the next album or EP?
Yeah, we like to be heavy, but we don't like the connotations of being just like a heavy metal band or a hard rock band. We like to explore different avenues, and I think everything in the future is going to be heavy to some degree, but I don't know. I think we're going to be kind of like a Rush or a Tool, where they always have an ever progressing sound that one album doesn't really sound like the last, but they're, as a collective, you can all tell that they're from one artist. I think that's kind of where we're heading at this point.
Writing the new songs, does it still challenge or push you guys to come up with something new and stay fresh with Afterimage's music? Because being a young band, you know it just as well as I do, you're going to stay on your toes. You're going to continue to write. Does this push you guys to keep doing what you're doing? Yeah,
we definitely don't want to make repeats. We're always trying to figure out new ways we can do things. I remember about a year and a half ago when we were doing a lot of writing, we found ourselves falling into this rut where we're like, okay, every song needs to have a breakdown. Where now we're kind of realizing that it's okay for things you have to find the right place for certain elements in a song. And I'm trying to push my creative boundaries and see where we can take this rock thing, where I'm looking at a lot of different influences in terms of my bass playing, not just metal and hard rock. Like I look to reggae and ska a lot now too, and I try to see if that's something that I can incorporate into the music. And that's not saying that that's where we're heading, but just for me personally, I definitely like to look at outside influences that we can bring in to keep it fresh.
When you said ska, man, you had me right there, because I'm a big heavy metal guy. I mean, love heavy metal stuff like Metallica, Danzig,
oh, yeah.
and Rage Against the Machine, stuff like that. But I love some ska and some punk bands, man. I do. That was a big thing for me. I love Hepcat for ska. Oh my God. Jeez. Yeah. If you like to just sit down and relax, listen to some Hepcat, stuff like that, please. That's Hepkat, Hepcat. You want to check this band out. They will not, I don't think they'll disappoint you, but that's just me. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I feel like ska has this negative connotation that it's like, oh, it's just happy music. It's goofy, it's silly. But there's a lot of anger and aggression in that music that is underlying the surface, which I really have an appreciation for.
Mm-hmm. And it's cool on their interpretation of the ska music that they put out. I like it.
Yeah.
So who produced this album, this EP? You guys did this EP, correct?
Yes, it was completely self-produced. The only outside help we had an engineer at the studio that we went to, Even Fall Studio in New Hampshire.
Do you like having the control of doing your own, music this way, or would you want to work with a producer probably?
I mean, I think it's every young band's dream to work with a producer, but I do have to say that having control is really nice. You can put out the product that you want to put out without any interference. But on the other hand, a producer has a lot more experience that you don't necessarily have and can really enhance your product. So right now, we're happy being independent, but it's very much the ultimate goal to find a way to get a producer, get quality, like a higher quality product out there than what we can manage.
So let's talk about who did the artwork for this EP. Who did it?
That was our friend Anna Heindel. She went to Keene State College with us as well.
Can you see, is she going to be working on, because I mean, this artwork is pretty good on this, man, actually. It's pretty damn good.
Thank you. Yeah, she's done quite a bit of our artwork, actually. And I think she always will, because she puts out a really good quality product, and it brings our image to a whole new level. You see a lot of bands out there that have some really great music on the local level, but they just don't have that artwork. And I feel like that goes a whole long way, because that's the first thing you see before listening to the music. And if it looks like crap, 9 times out of 10, people don't really want to listen to it. So we definitely have that on our advantage, and we're extremely lucky to have a friend that is willing to work with us and create with us.
What do you hope everyone takes away, or message you hope they hear, Casey, while listening to any of Afterimage's music in general? What do you hope they get from it?
Well, I think we present a lot of raw emotion. I want to connect with people on an emotional level. I think we do that pretty well in our recorded songs, but it's so much different when you play live. There's some sort of the physical connection of playing live in front of an audience and having people there. You're able to, I feel like you're in a more vulnerable position. People see that, and they are able to connect with you a whole lot more. So I just want people to look at us and know that we feel the same things that everyday people do. We're no different than anyone else. We channel that emotion into an art form. So yeah, I think emotion is our biggest thing, being raw and vulnerable. So
what can fans expect at a show from Afterimage who have not got to see you guys live as of yet when they come to see you? What are they going to get?
Well, we love milk. I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to bring milk to the show. We're going to start chugging it. It's going to get a little weird. We're going to be bouncing up and down on and off of each other. Brandon will be looking into the clouds. Sometimes I don't know for sure, but I think that he sees aliens up in the sky at some of our shows. And Griff just goes full ape mode. He likes to channel his inner gorilla, I think. And so if you like any of those things, and if you want to participate in these things, have a glass of milk with us on stage, I definitely think you'll enjoy our show.
That's awesome. What made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you that said, yeah, I want to give this a shot?
Well, my dad really got me into the music that I listened to. He started me off with Rush, and I saw them live at the age of 12, and I was just completely blown away. But I don't think that was the moment that I said I want to become a musician. That was the catalyst for it. But the moment that I really said, this is what I want to do, I remember it. I was in the car, I had the headphones in, and I was listening to Strutter by Kiss.
Oh.
And something about it, I think it's the fact that Kiss started off as such a working class band, and they started from nothing, and then just came in, took the music scene by storm, and just blew up. Like, that always has been such an inspiration for me. And the way they changed the face of live entertainment too is just ridiculous. So I just remember listening to Strutter, and in that moment I was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life.
It amazes me on how many bands and musicians it's been on this podcast who have mentioned that Kiss was a big influence on them. And I'm going back to, people back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even now. Look how big Kiss has impacted them. So, Gene, Paul, Eric, Tommy, I'm telling you guys, come on my podcast. Let's talk about this. Give the Bodfather a chance. Trust me. I will do you awesome. Trust me. So, they should come on my show. I think they should. But
they absolutely should. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's cool, man. That and here's my story with Kiss. My dad and me, we used to go fishing all the time, and he had the 8-track Kiss. What was it? 8-track. He had 8-track of Love Gun. Yeah, the Love. What was it? Love Gun? I want to say Love Gun. That's the 8-track that he had. I could be wrong, but it was a white 8-track that had them on the front. And so I bought the CD because I can't play the 8-track no more. I still got it, but it don't play. So I don't think it was Love Gun, but anyway, I've got it. It's got Christine 16 on it.
That's Love Gun.
Okay, so yeah. Sorry, folks. My mind goes because I got so much stuff going on. I just forgot. But anyway, it's so cool on how Kiss has impacted everybody. Just about everybody knows who Kiss is, regardless if you're not a big metal fan or rock fan. You know who they are.
Absolutely. No, for sure. And I think that's another thing that a lot of people kind of get looked down upon for liking Kiss, but I feel like they're such a great entryway into the genre of rock and metal because it's easy. They're easy to get into. And while they might not be the most musically talented, they captured something that needed to be presented to the world at that time. And like I said, I think every high schooler, I think it should be mandatory listening that you listen to Destroyer and Love Gun albums because they're so influential.
It's so crazy how the live factor of Kiss saved their career. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
They're a live band. So what's your thoughts on hearing Gene mentioning that they could go on, or Kiss could go on, I should say, without Gene and Paul, but to me, there's no Kiss without Gene and Paul, or, hey, the Cat Man, let's get him back in there, Ace Frehley. That's Kiss to me.
Yeah.
That is Kiss. So what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I find that a little weird because at that point it is a glorified tribute act. And while I really appreciate the work of Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer, they only have 2 albums under their belts with Kiss. Well, Eric Singer has a couple more. But in the Catman and Spaceman persona, I don't know. I just feel like without Gene or Paul, those are the original members. And they have a lot of ideas, a lot of great ideas, and a lot not so good. And I think that kind of falls into the not so good category. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think at that point, like I said, it's a tribute act, and you can see those for a lot cheaper down the street at a club or a bar. So that's my take.
Since being a young band, and we're just now getting back out and getting to do things from this coronavirus, do you think this is going to hurt the live concerts and everything in these festivals since, everything's getting back out? Or do you think this is really hurt in the long run for especially young bands and all these older bands that had big crews to pay?
Yeah, I don't think we're out of it just quite yet. I think that, I don't know, I think that there's going to be a big demand for music once this is all over with. Who knows when that is? But I definitely think there's going to be a big demand. There's a lot of energy that people just want to get out. The one thing that is going to hurt, especially on the local level, is that you're seeing a lot of independent venues that can't afford to pay their bills because they're not booking shows. They have no income coming in. So that is going to hurt the local scene. And we've already seen in Boston, Great Scott, there's rumblings that they announced that they're going to be closing, and there's rumblings that they might come back, they might not. But you get a venue like that closing down, that hurts a whole scene, especially when I feel like in New England, at least, the scene is already kind of dying as it is. To have this put on top of that, it certainly doesn't help. And
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot more do-it-yourself venues are going to need to come out of the woodwork to keep the scene thriving.
Yeah, and those, man, those type of venues, they're the forefront for bands like you guys and bands that want to get a face out there. Without them, how are you going to do it? I mean, you're going to take to Facebook and Instagram and YouTube 24/7. I mean, looks like that's the pathway now for everything.
And the problem with the online marketing, especially in the past few months, is that there's such an oversaturation of bands trying to do live feeds and live sets that after the first week, people just got tired of it. So you definitely lose something on the online presence. And that's why live music is so important, because there's that emotional connection and people like to have a good time at shows. So without that, it's looking rough right now, but I have hope. I think that there's always been struggles in the world. So I think we'll pull through.
Is there a country that stands out or shocks you that you could tell that Afterimage music gets support from, or you guys even get played in possibly?
Let's see. I think we got played in Greenland once. I saw that on our Spotify analytics, and I was like, who is listening to us in Greenland? That was pretty cool. No, there's always a couple, like one or two streams in Japan or another country. It's always very cool to see. We haven't really gotten a lot of a following outside of New England quite yet, so I can't really speak too much on that, but it is certainly very exciting to see that your music is getting played outside your own territory.
How can folks stay in touch with you guys? Buy this new EP that's out right now, Temperance. How can folks do that, Casey?
Yeah, well, we have a website, afterimage.nh.com, that has videos. It's got our web store where you can buy shirts, our CD. It's got all of our interviews. This one will post up on there once it's all ready. And we started a physical newsletter last month, which is something that I always saw bands doing throughout the 70s and 80s, and especially in the 90s, and it really died out with the invention of computers. But I really think it's a really cool technique that bands aren't capitalizing on. So we're bringing that back, and if you're interested in getting a physical newsletter, you can message us on our Facebook, or we have a contact us link on our website as well. So we're always trying to explore new avenues to get in touch with you guys.
And before I let you go, good sir, would you care to do a promo for the show?
Oh, absolutely. This is Casey from Afterimage, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Hour podcast. Please get down and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link, YouTube link, and every link that we are associated with, folks. And trust me, we are all over the platforms just about. So please do that for us and keep us close that way you can listen to us. And also, please get out and check out Afterimage. Pick up their EP, Temperance. You will not be disappointed. So, Casey, thank you so much, and I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you very much. It was nice talking to you.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.